I mean, the doctors that we're working with, they wanted to come and speak out.
Yeah.
But when you go to the College of Physicians and Surgeons, they won't allow a doctor to speak out. So you have to realize that the reason that people aren't speaking out is because their jobs are threatened.
Right.
Many doctors, they've been told, like, if you talk, you're done. And we've seen it because people have been made an example all across the country. So no one should be surprised that the group that doesn't want the conversation to occur says we should have the conversation, but as soon as we start to have the conversation, they're the first to say, stop, you're spreading misinformation.
Adam So's here for Rebel News. The United Conservative Party's Constituency Association of Calgary-Lougheed is set on June 17th to host an event entitled An Injection of Truth. And unfortunately, that event has been deplatformed by Eventbrite. The event is set to feature prominent COVID-19 vaccine critics such as Dr. David J. Speaker, Dr. Eric Payne, Dr. William Mackis, Dr. Chris Shoemaker, Dr. Jessica Rose, and Dr. Byram Bridle, among others, who will explore the latest in vaccine data, including some victim statements, as well as discussing the potential adverse effects of vaccines for children. I was very fortunate to be joined by the president of the Constituency Association for the UCP at Calgary-Lougheed, Darrell, who broke down some of the details surrounding the deplatforming of this event. So I guess just first off, if you don't mind sort of describing the nature of this event. This isn't a government event, but it's a UCP Constituency Association event. If you could just sort of get into the details of the sort of grassroots initiative that you're part of.
Well, basically we have questions, and so we want questions answered by the government as well. So even though it's a UCP government, the Constituency Association, which is Calgary-Lougheed, our members have these questions, and our primary question was, why has there been such an increase in the number of childhood deaths since 2020? So we just posed a simple question. And rather than speculating, and we all understand there's an elephant in the room.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's just get some scientists to talk about it. I mean, what's the fear in talking about it? I mean, we shouldn't feel threatened to have the conversation. We can agree to disagree, or we can agree that, oh, I learned something different. So RCA decided, hey, let's do something a little different. Let's make it a little on a topic that people haven't talked about in 4 years. Yeah. And let's just see if we can get some answers.
How did you find out that, and I've seen a bunch of mainstream media even running this story, how did you find out that Eventbrite decided that you weren't allowed to sell tickets on their platform?
Well, you know, it's the story of you're watching the ticket sales move along and then suddenly they stop. I mean, they've been incredibly steady. Yeah. So, you know, we're getting 10, 15 an hour and suddenly you got zero.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really paying too close attention to it until somebody sent me a note and said, Darrell, I can't get a ticket. I go, well, just go to Eventbrite. And he says, well, no, it's giving me this error message. So anyway, we got into it and found out that, you know, we had been decommissioned or deplatformed, what have you, based on some community rules. Yeah. And so when I review the terms of service, because naturally that's where we start, there's nothing in there that precludes us from talking about what we're talking about. So someone made a judgment. And whether it was AI or it was someone, and in fact, we're having it reviewed at Eventbrite right now because they can't tell us why. Yeah. So I find it fascinating that so many people say, well, you were deplatformed, therefore you're bad. And I go, well, why am I bad? And no one can point that out because Eventbrite canceled you. Well, all of those tickets are going to be, they're good. If someone bought an Eventbrite ticket for an injection of truth, they're going to be fine. Yeah. And of course, our new platform, they'll be fine there too. So we've worked through it. We had a contingency plan in place just in case, but that isn't because we thought Eventbrite would deplatform us. It's just that we have plan A and plan B. It's kind of our nature. There has been a number of different people in the community who are paid by the federal government to, you know, fight misinformation. And generally the complaints come from the same group of people. It shouldn't be to anyone's surprise that we're talking about 2 or 3 people that are basically controlling that narrative and stopping the conversation from occurring. And I mean, I think I saw it in a Substack today. It's fascinating the number of people that are coming to to support us because they understand that people should have an opportunity to speak. And so I think it was nefarious personally, but I don't want to make that judgment quite yet because, you know, I'm doing an event based on collecting information before you make a judgment. So I don't want to be too quick on that.
Now, I suppose my next question for you is, I mean, on a provincial level, on a federal level, there are vaccine injury support programs. There's an acknowledgement that this has happened. New evidence has come forward. Does this feel like sort of we've stepped back 2 or 3 years? Because there was a time where we couldn't post a video like this. You weren't allowed to have these discussions. But now it seems like this stuff is coming to light. But nevertheless, for having this conversation, you're being stifled and silenced once again.
Yeah, I think there's a large contingent of people who don't want to have the conversation. I don't know why, because they won't say why. So they're always quick to say, well, your doctors are discredited or the information has been confirmed to be true. Yeah. And I go, well, there's new information. Yeah. I'm not sure the basis of decrediting doctors. I mean, the doctors that we're working with, they wanted to come and speak out. Yeah. But when you go to the College of Physicians and Surgeons, they won't allow a doctor to speak out. So you have to realize that the reason that people aren't speaking out is because their jobs are threatened. Right. Many doctors, they've been told, like, if you talk, you're done. And we've seen it because people have been made an example all across the country. So no one should be surprised that the group that doesn't want the conversation to occur says we should have the conversation, but as soon as we start to have the conversation, they're the first to say, stop, you're spreading misinformation. I don't know what the information is yet. So I'm going to wait and see. If people want to find out and hear it, I mean, we're going to make it available globally. We've got so many requests to stream it. So we will stream it as well. But, it's going to be a live show, and it's going to be an amazing 2.5 hours. We have a landing page. You can buy tickets at aninjectionoftruth.ca. You land there, click the ticket button. We have a half a dozen different options on how you can do it. You can come in person. You can have a viewing party. You can stream it to your desk. We're even having a big event after called Politics and Popcorn, where people will actually be able to ask the questions that they have one-on-one with the live speakers.
Oh, incredible. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to the event, and everyone at home, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Sos. Hey everybody, I am being quiet because the screening of the world premiere of our new documentary, Made the Dark Side of Canadian Compassion, is taking place right now. I do believe that this is the most important film that we have ever made, and if you want to check it out, you can get your tickets and find a show near you at nmade.com.